The Roman Republic, once celebrated as a beacon of shared power and civic virtue, was teetering on the brink of collapse by the 1st century BCE. For centuries, Rome's unique system of checks and balances had kept the ambitions of individuals in check, allowing the Senate and the people to share authority. But now, the very institutions that had made Rome strong were beginning to unravel, threatened by forces both within and without. Rome's relentless conquests had flooded the city with unimaginable wealth, but this prosperity was not shared equally. The aristocratic elite, the patricians, grew ever richer, hosting lavish banquets and amassing fortunes, while the majority of ordinary Romans found themselves left behind. The gap between rich and poor widened, fueling resentment and anger among the lower classes, who struggled to survive in the shadow of opulence. Displaced by war and the expansion of vast estates owned by the wealthy, countless farmers lost their land and livelihoods. With nowhere else to turn, they poured into the city of Rome, swelling its population and forming a restless, desperate urban mob. These new arrivals, crammed into overcrowded slums, were hungry for change and easily swayed by promises of reform. In this climate of uncertainty, two powerful factions emerged within the Senate. The Optimates, staunch defenders of tradition and the privileges of the elite, clashed with the Populares, ambitious politicians who sought to win the support of the masses by promising land, grain, and new rights. The Senate, once a place of reasoned debate, became a battleground for these rival groups. Political disagreements soon spilled into the streets, turning violent as rival gangs and mobs fought for influence. The authority of the Senate weakened with each passing year, as violence and intimidation replaced law and order. Rome's leaders seemed powerless to stop the chaos, and the Republic's future hung in the balance. Into this volatile and dangerous world was born Gaius Julius Caesar. From a young age, Caesar was ambitious, charismatic, and keenly aware of the shifting tides of power. He watched as the old order faltered, and he saw in the chaos a chance to rise above his rivals and reshape Rome itself. The very foundations of the Republic were cracking, and Caesar, with his sharp mind and unyielding ambition, recognized opportunity where others saw only disaster. He was determined to seize his moment, no matter the cost. The stage was set for a seismic shift in Roman history. As storm clouds gathered over the city, the fate of the Republic and the future of Rome would soon be decided by those bold enough to grasp power in a world on the edge. Julius Caesar was born into the ancient and noble gens Julia, a family that traced its legendary roots all the way back to the goddess Venus herself. This prestigious lineage placed him among Rome's oldest patrician families, a heritage that carried immense weight in Roman society. Yet, despite this illustrious ancestry, the Julii had fallen on hard times by the time Caesar was a young man. The family's fortune had dwindled, leaving them with little wealth and even less political influence. Their grand name opened doors, but their empty coffers closed many more. Caesar grew up surrounded by reminders of past glory, but also by the daily reality of financial struggle and limited prospects. This unique position gave Caesar both the pride of elite pedigree and the burning hunger of an outsider. He was determined to restore his family's honor and surpass the achievements of his ancestors. The contrast between his noble birth and his family's reduced circumstances fueled his ambition and sharpened his resolve. From a young age, Caesar displayed remarkable charisma and a natural gift for oratory. He quickly learned that in Rome, winning the people's favor was as important as noble blood. To gain popularity, he spent lavishly on public games and spectacles, even if it meant plunging himself deep into debt. The crowds adored him, and his generosity became legendary. But behind the scenes, his financial risks were mounting. Siding with the Populares, the political faction that championed the common people, Caesar skillfully used the anger and frustration of the masses to fuel his own rise. He positioned himself as a champion of the people, promising reforms and hope to those who felt ignored by the Senate's elite. The Senate's conservative leaders saw him as a dangerous upstart, a threat to their power and traditions. But Caesar was relentless. Refusing to be intimidated by their scorn or opposition, he understood that to change Rome, he would have to challenge its most powerful men. A defining episode in his early life came when pirates captured him while he was traveling. Even in captivity, Caesar's confidence never wavered. He joked with his captors about his own ransom, insisting they demand a higher price. After his release, he hunted the pirates down and had them executed, displaying both his charm and his ruthless resolve. This episode became legendary, a glimpse of the boldness that would define his career. Caesar understood that true power in Rome required more than just a famous name. It demanded money, popularity, and powerful allies. He borrowed heavily from wealthy supporters, risking everything to fund his ambitions and maintain his public image. Behind closed doors, he built alliances with influential men, forging connections that would prove crucial in the battles to come. Every move was calculated, every friendship a potential stepping stone to greater power. To break the Senate's iron grip on Rome, Caesar knew he would need an alliance strong enough to shake the very foundations of the Republic. He began to lay the groundwork for a partnership that would change history. The stage was set for a political earthquake. Rome was on the brink of transformation, and Caesar was ready to seize his moment. By 60 BCE, the Roman Republic was in turmoil. Three ambitious men, Pompey the Great, famed for his military victories, Marcus Licinius Crassus, the wealthiest man in Rome, and Julius Caesar, a rising political star, recognized that the Senate was blocking their ambitions at every turn. Rather than compete, they decided to join forces, forging a secret alliance that would change the course of Roman history. Their clandestine pact, later known as the First Triumvirate, was a masterstroke of political strategy. By combining Pompey's military strength, Crassus's immense wealth, and Caesar's popularity with the people, they created a power block that could not be ignored. The Senate, once the heart of Roman governance, found itself sidelined and powerless against this new alliance. As consul, Caesar used his position to pass laws that favored his allies, rewarding Pompey's veterans with land and easing Crassus's financial burdens. In return, he secured for himself a lucrative and influential command in Gaul, setting the stage for his future conquests. This was not just politics, it was the careful construction of a new order. The triumvirate was, in essence, a silent coup. Though the Republic's institutions remained intact on the surface, real power now rested in the hands of three men whose ambitions knew no bounds. The Senate, once the guardian of tradition, was reduced to a mere spectator in the unfolding drama. For Caesar, the command in Gaul was a turning point. It gave him what he needed most, a loyal army, battle-hardened and fiercely devoted. With every victory, his influence grew, and so did the threat he posed to the old order. The Republic's cherished institutions, its Senate, its laws, its traditions, were now at the mercy of personal alliances and private ambitions. The fate of Rome hung in the balance, shaped not by the will of the people, but by the deals struck in shadowy corners. The balance of power had shifted irreversibly. The old checks and balances were gone, replaced by the unpredictable ambitions of a few powerful men. The Senate's authority was a memory, and the Republic's future was uncertain. At the center of it all stood Caesar, poised to leave an indelible mark on history. His ambitions stretched far beyond Rome, and the world would soon feel the impact of his rise. The next chapter of Rome's story would not be written in debate or law, but in blood and conquest. The age of the Republic was ending, and a new era was about to begin. In Gaul, Caesar launched a brutal 9-year campaign, transforming himself into a legendary general whose name would echo through history. He conquered vast territories, even crossing into Britain, and meticulously documented his victories to build his reputation and influence back in Rome. His commentaries were powerful propaganda, portraying him as Rome's savior and the ultimate military leader. The reality was far harsher. Entire tribes were destroyed, and millions suffered under the weight of conquest. Caesar's plunder paid his debts and secured the fierce, unwavering loyalty of his legions. His soldiers fought for him, not the distant Senate in Rome. By the end, Caesar commanded a veteran army utterly devoted to him alone. This formidable force would soon march on Rome itself, changing history forever. The triumvirate collapsed after Crassus's death and the loss of Caesar's daughter, who had married Pompey. Pompey sided with the Senate, who feared Caesar's power. Facing prosecution if he returned to Rome as a private citizen, Caesar was given an ultimatum: disband his army, or be destroyed. Refusing to surrender, Caesar led his legion across the Rubicon in 49 BCE, declaring, "The die is cast." This act was open rebellion, a declaration of civil war. Rome was thrown into chaos as Caesar advanced. The Republic's sons, finds feipaden stain, ris grubam, bardos paman. cider than read, would be best to be decided by the sword. The final struggle for power had begun. Caesar's swift advance forced Pompey and the Senate to flee Rome. He seized the city and pursued his rivals across the Roman world, ultimately defeating Pompey at Pharsalus. With his enemies vanquished, Caesar returned to Rome as its undisputed master. The Senate, now filled with his supporters, named him dictator for life. Caesar concentrated all power in his hands, ending the Republic's tradition of shared rule. He launched sweeping reforms, public works, land for veterans, calendar reform, and expanded citizenship. Yet, his autocracy alarmed the old elite. The Republic's last vestiges were gone. Rome was ruled by one man. Caesar's rule brought order, but also deep resentment. The seeds of his downfall were sown. Caesar's unchecked power and disregard for tradition outraged the Senate's remnants. Rumors of kingship and his new title, Dictator Perpetuo, pushed his enemies to act. Over 60 senators, led by Cassius and Brutus, plotted his assassination. On the Ides of March, 44 BCE, they struck during a Senate meeting. Caesar was stabbed 23 times, allegedly uttering, "Et tu, brute," as he fell. The conspirators proclaimed the Republic restored, but had no plan for what came next. The people, loyal to Caesar, turned on the assassins. Instead of saving the Republic, the murder unleashed more chaos. Civil war erupted once again. The Republic's death was sealed in blood. Caesar's death plunged Rome into even deeper chaos and uncertainty. Mark Antony and Octavian, Caesar's chosen heir, turned the people against the assassins, who were relentlessly hunted down and killed. A new, ruthless triumvirate soon emerged, but it quickly collapsed into even more civil war. Octavian ultimately defeated Antony and Cleopatra, becoming Rome's sole and undisputed ruler. He kept the facade of the Republic, but secretly held all real power as Augustus, the first emperor. The Republic was gone, replaced forever by imperial rule. Ironically, Caesar's murder to prevent monarchy actually paved the way for centuries of emperors. His story endures, a warning about ambition, power, and the ultimate fragility of political systems.